And now, the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're back this week to talk about episode 517. It's all about me.
Yes.
Andrew's life motto.
It is all about me. I would say there's a Tupac song called "It's All About You," and like the hook of the song is like "It's all about you," and every time like when I'm reading the name, I'm like "It's all about me." I can't help it. I can't help it. You know, Tupac and Odyssey, the overlaps are many, basically the same.
Right.
I'm surprised Tupac's not a character in Odyssey.
One circle.
What's the production notes or whatever we're calling it?
The context.
The context, yes, exactly, yes. Writers and whatnot.
This is episode written by Marshall Younger and Kathy Buchanan, directed by Bob Hoose.
So presumably Kathy Buchanan did all the Connie and Mitch stuff.
That's typically what she does.
Okay. That's odd that they would. Okay. All right. If it was like a really plot-heavy episode, or if like something else was happening, that would make sense. But it seems odd that she doesn't just do the whole thing.
I agree. I like though at least that they have some consistency and that she almost always does Connie and Mitch stuff.
You know, sexism aside.
Right. I mean, aside from like the last episode, which she was not involved in, and did it show? Last episode wasn't the worst Connie and Mitch episode.
No.
This one is not good, and the one before that is not good. So maybe the problem is
Kathy is the problem. She was going through a rough period in time.
Oh man! So we've jumped ahead now to this is album 40, Out of Control, and this was track 5 on that album.
Yeah,
it aired on May 17th, 2003, which puts it 3 months after 507,
which was the last episode we covered. Presumably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's. We were just talking about this before. Like this is an album that I had, and I didn't realize it until I started like listening to it to prepare, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know this entire thing.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?" It's really weird, like how because I knew mostly of what was gonna happen, like once it got started, but it was just so familiar. It was like, I know I've heard this so many times, but I don't remember what it is. Like I don't remember what's happening. Yeah. So that was cool.
It's so interesting too. Like in this era of Odyssey, they are most weeks you get a new episode.
Yeah,
and so 3 months before we were covering a different album.
Yeah,
and
which
like
is crazy.
This one airs and it's on the next album. Whereas now they only do 6 episodes albums, and they do like one in the fall, one in the spring, and the rest of the year is reruns.
Well, they do. I was reading something, I think, about it on Reddit, and they were talking, and I think they do 12 to the public and then 12 for the AIO club. Yeah. Or whatever.
Yeah, they do 2 6-episode public albums, 2 6-episode paywalled albums.
Yeah. I mean, we've checked all the boxes. Roll the promo.
Oh yeah, that's the thing we do.
On the next Adventures in Odyssey, Kids Radio has a new radio host.
Ask Dr. Wise.
Seems like he has answers to important questions.
Yeah, Dr. Wise, how do you broil a salmon?
But there's somebody else that has the town talking.
And I've got to get the scoop on Prankman.
Who is Dr. Wise? Who is Prankman? And how do you broil a salmon? These are just hard questions, but find out on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
Why did they make the Dr. Wise thing a mystery?
I don't know. And also, is that Hawaii 5-0 music?
It's got a weird surf rock thing going.
Who is Dr. Wise? Yeah.
It's Mitch. Spoiler alert.
It's Mitch.
It's Mitch.
We get your favorite character in this episode, or the one that you relate to the most.
Yeah, dude, my buddy Trent making his Odyssey debut.
It makes sense. That's okay.
That's the one I relate
to. My question for you while I was listening to this episode is, do you have a Jared for your Trent?
No, not really.
Okay.
But honestly though, like Jared and Trent don't really coexist on this show.
No.
And there's a little bit. There's a lot of issues with the way they handled this. But so basically, the actor playing Jared is going through puberty at this point.
Oh, okay.
And so they're worried about the voice change. And this is a literal quote from the official guide, in which Nathan Hubler was writing, "We couldn't keep Jared on the show for very long because the actor's voice had changed, and it seemed odd for a teenager to fixate on adult conspiracies. We hoped his brother Trent could carry on the imaginative Dwight tradition, but in a different way from his brother."
I don't think that that's true. I feel like there's just as many conspiracy theorist adults as there are children.
But it's... Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, like...
It's they have to do a lot of weird gymnastics to make this happen. And so I'm just going to get into it because I'm
Go for it.
frustrated with some...
Soapbox, get on it.
Okay, so we're just going to do a deep dive into Trent, Jared, the Dwight family, whatever right now.
Go for it.
First off, when Trent shows up in this episode, he sounds so young initially.
Like 6.
Where I was like, oh man.
Oh, is that the one where he, like, buries all the money?
No, in this episode, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When, like, we first hear him,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, Trent is, like, tiny.
Yeah.
Like, it just has a weird feel to it where the actor is obviously making his voice sound younger than it even is.
Marshall Younger?
No.
Not
But-
that. Okay.
Something I don't know if we've talked about before, but like of interesting note within Odyssey is they hire kids to voice kids,
Yeah.
which is not true of most animation.
No.
Like,
They hire Nick Kroll.
or they hire, like, for most of your like Nickelodeon, Disney, that sort of thing, it's adults voicing kids, and
Or
if
at
they're-
least late teenagers, like...
Yeah, a lot of times it's like proper like voice acting adults, especially there's a lot of oh man, I wish I could think of who the person is, but Fairly Odd Parents, Timmy Turner,
Yeah.
voiced by a woman.
Yep.
Like that's the
Yeah,
sort
and
of thing.
SpongeBob voiced by an old man. Older
Yeah,
man. Is he dead?
and so it's an interesting thing for Odyssey that they
Use kids
that
to
they
voice kids.
always use kids to voice kids, which in a lot of ways I respect, but it leads to issues like this where they're like, our character is kind of aging out of this, or like they have a similar thing with Jimmy Barkley where they like give him a puberty arc because the actor's
who's going
voice
through-
is changing.
Yeah.
And so
Which I guess I just don't understand why they don't just do that. Like, it makes sense for if you have reoccurring kid characters for them to go through awkward middle school phases. Like, that's
Yeah.
a thing.
But it's the problem is in casting kids to play these roles, but then never giving anyone ages ever,
Yeah.
you get into weird things. And so one of the things that's weird in this episode is in episode 375.
Okay.
So like almost
60 episodes from now?
what? No, 375.
Oh,
This is-
375. 200 episodes ago.
right.
200 and...
125, whatever, in the past, is when we first hear about Trent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Jared referencing his younger brother who's 2.
Oh.
But
Okay.
at that same time,
How old's Jared? Like, probably...
presumably the same age he is now. Like, that's the problem with this is he is...
I've always imagined him as, like...
There's a... Well, say what you were going to say.
I said I always imagine Odyssey within, like, the spectrum of, like, 1st through 8th grade, pretty much, unless
Yeah.
otherwise specified that they're
Unless
in high
someone
school.
specifically...
Like, Donna Barkley was definitely in, like, high school and stuff like that. Like,
There's-
Aubrey was in high school, like, You definitely get some characters, but most of the time, like, when in my head, Jared was always like the weird kid in 4th grade that, was checking the napkin dispensers for bugs and stuff like that. Like that's,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So the issue is, because we never get ages, we kind of have to go off of like generations and who hangs out with who and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which Odyssey has more consistency in. But our weird thing here is, so the big thing with Jared is that he was next door neighbors with Sarah.
Yeah.
And Sarah hangs out with Mandy a lot. And so they were kind of a peer group.
Yeah.
Then we transition to
Novacom stuff. Where they go
Novacom
away.
stuff. The Dwights move away. Sarah gets transitioned out. Like, Novacom's kind of the end of Sarah.
Yeah.
Mandy continues on, and Liz, who shows up in this episode, comes on to be the new Sarah in a lot of ways. Then we get, okay, we're getting rid of Jared, so we'll just quick age up his younger brother to be is close in age to Jared, and then, like, I don't know, semi-spoiler for the future, but, like, Trent and Mandy become an item.
Do they really?
Yeah. Like, that's like a, I don't know, or at least subtextually. Like, there is a romantic subplot between Trent and Mandy for a long time in the show. There's even like a
4 years. 4-year difference. You have like primary school, and then middle school is like 5th through 8th or whatever, like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And if Jared's 4 years older, then if Trent's 2,
you're saying
Jared's
where are you
6.
getting the 4 years though?
I'm just trying to think of the maximum age
Right.
gap where people could still be in school together, and also have it be not incredibly weird that Mandy and Trent were a thing.
Right. So they basically just recast Jared as Trent, can create him as a new character, but for whatever reason decide we still want him to be Jared's younger brother. And it's a weird choice because they barely overlap on the show.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a couple transition episodes. You could have introduced Trent as a new character. It's cool that you're trying to tie him in, but you have to do all these weird gymnastics where suddenly you've aged up Trent, and then he suddenly is with the same peers as his brother previously
And then are
was.
romantically involved, which is
Right.
odd. That's
Right.
where I'm like,
It's
ah.
and
what?
so I think maybe we could argue that Jared hung out with Sarah, and
Yeah.
Sarah's, like, Mandy was younger than Sarah, and just kind of tug along
Must
with
have
her.
been.
And
Yeah.
so, like, that's how we do it, but that doesn't get us past the point where Trent is 2,
Yes.
And
then is all of a sudden in 7th grade? Presumably?
right, like
Like
he's
aged up
he's
11
somewhere
years in like 3?
in middle school. So that whole thing is weird. And then on top of that, Rodney is still in the same building, and he has been there since the beginning of the show. Like, Rodney, who terrorized Jimmy Barkley,
Yep, is
He's
still
still
terrorizing people.
in the same building. And so,
Yeah, I mean, I think they finally get rid of him, but it takes far too long.
yeah, no, I think by the kind of next big transition for Odyssey happens around album 50.
Yeah, when
that's
they
kind
have
of
like
the pivot point.
Well, don't
'cause-
they have an album where it's pretty much entirely just like giving old characters a last hurrah?
Yes, which is 50.
Oh yeah.
They
it's
were
50.
like, this is our 50th album. We're going to kind of bring people back for stuff and phase out. And then I think 51 relaunches with like
with a new wit.
with new wit, with new kids, and a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and those kids have continued up until current.
Yeah, like that's like Buck and Matt and all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Those are the only kids' names I know of.
yeah,
think I'm sure there's more that I know.
It doesn't, yeah, it really doesn't matter. But,
So
yeah,
basically, this episode,
we've got Weird Age stuff.
there's a lot of Weird
throwing
Age
that out
stuff.
there.
Basically, the beginning is Connie and Mitch are at wit's end. Connie's trying to entertain Mitch and trying to keep him in Odyssey. It sounds like it sounds like he's accepted the job at the FBI, or pretty much.
Yeah,
is.
It seems like he's kind of made up his mind. He talks about being bored being around here, being from Boston. There's just nothing to do in Odyssey.
There's not that much to do in Boston. I'm not gonna lie. The VeggieTales got it wrong. It's pretty in the fall, but that's about it.
It's a weird. I don't know. It's weird because we haven't really I think it could have been justified that Mitch wants to go to the FBI without him being like, it's boring around here. Like, that hasn't really seemed like his character.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that.
Getting fed up with the small town life was like, I was like,
maybe they're preparing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. He's trying to
convince her there's flights from Odyssey, because Odyssey has an airport,
right?
Odyssey to Virginia.
Which, if Odyssey is a Chicago-esque location, it's near Chicago. That puts it at a 2-hour flight nonstop for about $180.
There's no way it's 2 hours.
What? No, this is a legitimate thing I looked up because
from Chicago to Virginia?
I don't know why. Yeah, from Chicago to DC.
Oh, from Chicago to DC is $180.
Yep, 2-hour flight, nonstop. That's $180 round trip.
Oh, okay.
So
that's fair.
No, it's not that bad. It's 700 miles, 12 hours driving.
Yeah,
this is the
you're gonna have to,
dummest research I've ever put into this show.
Well, you're gonna have to pay for separate lodging because you're not allowed to stay together.
That's true. Although, well, yeah.
Anywho,
there's options, but
there's options.
There's got to be someone they know
stay
in
with
DC,
Jimmy.
right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're not saying that.
No, that causes the same problem because I was gonna say that too, and then I was like, oh wait, that doesn't actually change things.
Yeah. Okay, and then. Yeah, so basically, and Connie's attempt to keep him around is like, you just need something to do. We'll give you your own show on kids' radio.
Yeah.
And so.
Which is a dumb idea.
Yeah, and then Jared kind of comes in.
Well, so we get a weird thing with. So Trent comes in first.
Yes.
And is talking to Connie. And then Jared shows up.
Yeah.
And it's this big reveal for us as the audience that Trent's brother is Jared. Because this is our first introduction to Trent.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's staged. It's staged because he was mentioned, years ago, but this is our first actual him being here, and so it's staged as this whole they're referencing his brother being outside, and then we hear the voice, and then he walks in, and they're like, "It's Jared,"
and then he just walks straight up to Connie's like, "I need some advice,"
right? Yeah, and it's established too that Connie and Mitch know Trent and Jared, and the fact that the two of them are related.
Yeah, and then.
But it's supposed to be a reveal to us.
And then we get a top-notch line. So he's asking about joining the biology club, and then this is a line that sticks in my head. But I've never heard of anything more dripping of geekism than being in the biology club.
Yeah, the thing I personally relate to. He's talking about the skeleton thing, and the line that cracks me up is him. They're saying skeletons aren't cheap, and Mitch says, "I wouldn't sell mine for anything."
Yeah, I wouldn't sell mine for anything.
And it's just it's a real quick throwaway. Nobody acknowledges it, but I'm just laughing real hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great. And I kind of believe that he has a skeleton.
No, he was talking about the one in his body.
Oh, I thought he was making a joke about haha, I have skeletons too.
No. I am pretty sure the joke's not that
he's talking about
skeletons.
A biological.
He's talking about the skeleton that he is. I wouldn't sell that for anything. Then I'd just be a meat sack.
New merch idea. Meat sack. I just want. Is there any character art of Mitch?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we need.
It's not good character arc. Art.
Or art.
It's
plenty
it's
of character
from
arc.
I think it's from the next album. It's like him in the back seat of a blacked out car, and we just like see his head through a window.
Oh.
So
Well, I mean, I guess they have established that he is what, like, brown hair, green eyes, blonde hair, green eyes,
brown hair, green eyes.
brown. Yeah. 'Cause yeah. Anyway, not important. Getting lost daydreaming about Mitchell.
Yeah. Oh boy. And so Jared's just like, I don't know, crazy over the top, just going off about
Yeah.
this, that, and the other thing. And yeah, I don't know. His conspiracy stuff is whatever. And I like the best part of this scene for me, because I am glad that Jared essentially gets replaced by Trent, because his conspiracy stuff gets a little old, and I think Cal does it better.
Yeah.
Where Cal's is more dialed in, and Jared's like Cal, like
Kyle.
211.
Yeah.
Where he's just like,
Yeah. Cal is like, he's like, it seems like his is a lot of influenced by him just being young, whereas Jared just seems like he's a genuine crazy person.
Right.
Like, Cal's like, it's like in the movies, and Jared's like, she's gonna kill me with her cane.
The birds outside are cameras. But, I mean, and maybe that is the thing that they were mentioning of, like, it might be, like, time for us to get rid of him, because it's weird for a guy who sounds like this to be obsessed with these conspiracies, which, you know, maybe they're right. But
well, we also
maybe
have
Odyssey
like a
does know better.
30-something-year-old mailman with a slide in his house that writes like national selling comic books. So there's that.
You're right. You're very right.
No hate. Wooten's the best. One of my favorite characters.
Yeah. The nice thing here is just Trent not putting up with Jared being ridiculous. Him
exactly.
just like doing the brother thing and just being like, like, I have to live
Whatever.
with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I like that Trent is this
he's the
kid
grounding
who
force.
sounds like he's 2,
Yeah.
but is like over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's so over it. It's so good. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like, I remember when my older sister started like being interested in boys and stuff, and they would come over to the house, like, you know, saying stuff to my parents like, oh, she's just so boy crazy. And I'm like, I was like maybe 6 at the time. Like, I don't know anything, but I'm also like, you know,
Stupid younger sibling stuff.
yeah. It's cute. It's cute. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Basically, Mitch offers some advice, and this is how we get Connie saying like, "You should have an advice show on kids radio," and then
and it's a bad idea. It's not exciting. This is not going to be the thing that makes Mitch stay. If anything's going to make Mitch stay, it's the fact that last episode he started a business.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah. That didn't last. Oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe the FBI saw his like listing on Google.
Business.
Yeah.
Why isn't that brought up?
That would be so nice.
That last episode.
It's not even that long ago.
Is so out of context. Like,
Yeah,
they really did not know what they were doing.
Yeah, it does feel like. You ever put together a jigsaw puzzle and there's just one piece that doesn't have the like, you know, paper part that has like the actual picture on it, and so when you put it together, there's just like one brown splotch. That's what that episode feels like.
Yeah, I buy it.
Okay. You clearly haven't used as many Goodwill jigsaw puzzles as
no,
me.
we buy only the best. My dad's a big puzzler. So Mitch is like, I don't know, this is such a great idea. I'm not great about relationships. Look at my relationship with you.
Yeet.
Woof.
Yeah.
That was, more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because he's not wrong.
No.
But it's still like, that's a gut punch.
It is a gut punch.
Anyways.
And it's kind of glossed over.
Yeah. Oh, it's very much glossed over. It's just a laugh line.
Yeah.
But that's, maybe talk about that. And then we get really weird sound engineering. Where Wit comes into the building, and we find out that he's carrying grocery bags, but it sounds like he's like in an Iron Man suit or something.
Yeah.
Like it's
Lots of clinking.
not a fan. Like it sounds big.
You done missed
Like
it. You
like
done
not
missed
even
it.
Iron Man, but like the is it Ironmonger? What's the bad guy in the first Iron Man that's like
Oh,
or even just like the Hulkbuster suit to go
Yeah.
more recent.
Iron Patriot.
He sounds enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very large, very clunky wit.
Yep.
That's my favorite wit.
And then
Jared and so basically it cuts to Jared and Trent being at school. It's like after school. I think it's like Jared picking up Trent or something from class.
yeah.
And he's like, I've got to go put away these skeletons.
Well, yeah, it's they kind of set it up with him. He got thrown in the mud.
Yeah.
Which Rodney shoves Jared in the mud.
And that puddle sounds
Whatever.
huge. That puddle sounds like he was thrown into a pool.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
loud. And also, is the recorder waterproof? How did this work?
Rodney's just.
Moving on. We just
But yeah.
move on.
So yeah.
Move on.
So they have a good thing here, and I assume it's in other episodes, but I don't actually remember where Jared's recording himself, which is a really good way to
Yeah.
get.
exposition.
Yes.
Exactly.
For him to explain what's going on when he doesn't have any scene partners, and he can't have any because this is a secret thing.
Yeah.
And so he sticks the skeleton in Rodney's locker.
Yeah. As a great prank. And
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of a jerk move.
Yep.
Screwing over his brother like that, but oh well.
And so we cut to the next day in school, and
Rodney's picking on. Is it Jared or Trent that he's picking on?
well, first he shoves Liz,
Yeah.
and then he takes Trent's hat,
Yeah.
which Trent should
want
not
it
be
back?
wearing a hat
You
in
want it
school.
back?
Whatever. And I like they have like in the background Liz just being like, "Come on, Rodney."
Yeah.
Just like, stop it, you idiot.
You are a fully grown man in middle school picking on a presumably
yeah.
8-year-old.
Yeah. And so he opens the locker, skeleton falls out.
Wow, mommy!
Yeah. Everyone's freaking. He goes to shove Trent in the locker.
Yeah.
And the
small enough
skeleton
to-
falls
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And then
What an interesting skeleton sound effect.
sounds like rattly bones.
Yeah, it does. It's like, I don't know. They sound. Never mind.
And so we go from there to Ask Dr. Wise,
Oh boy.
which is a dumb title for a dumb concept that's just Connie doing a device show using Mitch as her voice, but then getting pissed off that Mitch is her voice.
Yep, exactly. Well, I mean, it starts out as like you should have an advice show, and then he doesn't know the answer, and then so they're constantly
They
cutting
just
to break. And
Go to commercial every time there's a question.
you can say I don't know on an advice show.
Yeah, it's dumb. Anyways,
That would be like that'd be like calling Target's customer service, asking them how to build a table, and instead of them being like, I don't know, read the manual, they're like, let me go get the person who invented that table, and then put you on hold.
Yeah, it's bad. The first caller is Marvin Washington. Which,
Yeah.
if you're listening along with us, is the first time we've heard him.
Gotta love Marvin.
Yeah, cool character.
And and it ties back into Novacom stuff because Marvin Washington is, wait, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't
Who's
tie
Marvin?
into Novacom at all.
Marvin's
dad now runs Wits End
Send
in Connellsville.
Yes.
At this point.
I was confusing Marvin with the Shepherds.
Oh, gotcha. And so Marvin is talking about like his little sister keeps coming in to mess with his comic books.
Yeah.
Tamika
Yeah.
is older than him.
Yes.
He does not, in fact, have a little sister, and this is a weird continuity drop the ball thing that Odyssey has done.
Yep. Yeah.
So-
yeah. Oh well. Unless there's
has-
a secret little sister we don't know about.
No, but there's a secret older brother that we never talk about.
That's also true. Yeah.
But, yeah. So,
We're doing great, guys.
whatever.
We're doing great.
I was just like, little sister. Tamika is definitely older, right? And then I like deep dove and was like, yeah, she's older.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
So yeah. So Mitch.
I will note the production quality is really good. It does sound like they're doing a radio show.
Yeah.
They do that very well.
Yes. Production quality, great.
Top notch.
Mitch.
Writing, oof.
Mitch talks about how he can do like make a lock out of a cheese grater.
And a bobby pin. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
And then Connie cuts him off with a commercial to say, like, hey, you can't say that this is a family show. Like, you know.
Like how we're not supposed to say friggin'.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're a family. We're not a family.
This is not a family show.
No. And so.
Good Christian fun Odyssey edition.
Yeah, sure. We toe a line. So.
Go for it.
Connie responds with the perfect response and continues to for the rest of the show. Every question that comes in
is ridiculous.
For this episode, or like for this session of them doing it, is a ridiculous question that Mitch has no idea to answer, and Connie somehow knows all the answers perfectly.
Except for getting lipstick out of a sweater. Vaseline makes sense.
What?
One of the questions is how do you get lipstick out of a sweater.
Right, but Connie gives the answer.
She would know.
Oh,
that,
she would. It makes sense that she would know. I'm not saying that there's instances in which it doesn't make sense she would know.
But
honestly,
it is a little bit like, how do you make drapes? How do you broil a salmon?
Yeah.
And
and I think that there's a point early on, it might even be with Jimmy, where Connie kind of learns this lesson of like, you know, be careful when you give the kids advice because like they're looking up to you and the parents will hold you accountable and all that stuff. So it makes sense that she knows how to handle this stuff better than Mitch, but she does a phenomenal job answering every stupid question that comes in. Mitch knows nothing. She should be running the show.
Yeah.
So what? It's Trent and Jared talking about the skeleton, and Jared's talking about like, oh, the classroom.
I don't know though. Like, I just don't understand why Connie wouldn't just jump in and sit down next. Like, I get that she's like a producer and stuff, but like,
right.
I would be a lot more interested in them being boyfriend and girlfriend and sitting down and giving advice.
Yes.
Than whatever the heck Dr. Wise and was it Professor something or other?
Yeah, which is her thing
written down
later. But yeah,
Professor Brilliant. There you go.
Yes. This episode, as hinted at by the promo, is just full of the worst names.
Yes.
Because Prank Man.
Yep.
Is what
so bad. It's incredibly bad.
Liz has decided to call the person who put the thing in the locker. Then Jared,
I have one side note I would like to say before we move on. The ad with Dreams by Constance, the guy who voices it is the same guy that does the ads for the Adventures in Odyssey Club.
Oh, interesting.
It's like Dreams by Constance. And I didn't realize it until this time that it's the same guy that's like, Odyssey news, scoops, and reviews.
That's funny.
It's the same man.
That's really funny.
I don't know who it is, but
yeah.
Now you know. Because I thought it was weird that Connie doesn't do her own ads for her own business.
Yes, it is weird. Jared talks about like, he got the skeleton into the locker by using a pressure point on the locker. The only reason I'm even bringing this up is because I have 100% quoted Jared on that fact.
There's a pressure point in the locker that you can use to get in.
As like, yeah.
So can you actually do that?
No.
I don't think
so. We've talked a little bit in the past about how, like, when we were talking about stuff with Cal and Alex, and I was talking about like how much I relate to that, like being a kid and like trying to figure things out and pretend like you know stuff and whatnot.
Yeah. But
I'm realizing now that I'm relating to that from them because as a kid, I took inspiration from them. Like, I legitimately think I modeled behaviors as a child off of this show.
Oh, for sure.
And now I'm just looking at it like, oh, that's weird how much I relate to it. And so this pressure point thing came up, and I was like, shoot, I have 100% at some point, probably in middle school, trying to sound like I know stuff, brought up. Like, oh, like if you press here on a locker, like you can pop it open and whatever. Like, it's something that I have definitely said.
Oh yeah.
And so that's
funny.
Uncomfortable to find out.
This is a journey of self-discovery. We didn't realize it.
Yeah.
We didn't realize it, but it's
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah.
Liz calls in.
Yeah.
And is asking about. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I skipped something.
Yeah.
Kids Radio gets a review. Or the
Yeah.
Dr. Wise. Who's writing reviews for Kids Radio? That makes no sense. I mean, I get it's a small town and whatever, but like, what? Yeah.
You get it? Who? Because it's the Odyssey Owl. That's the school paper callback, which is it's good, and I don't know. I like that's the Odyssey school mascot is the owl.
Oh yeah. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have friggin' reviews for radio shows, whatever, and it's like apparently they've done it every day for a week. It seems like because Connie says like, oh, it's only been the first week, and then basically the review is really good. Basically, it's saying like Mitch knows everything.
This is phenomenal, except his producer keeps cutting in.
Yeah,
And it's like, guys, I feel like if you're listening to it on the radio,
you have to know.
you have to be able to. No show commercial breaks that often,
Except for sports radio,
right?
which that sucks. Sports radio's the worst. They do like the
No, you misspoke. Radio's the worst.
Yeah. Well, the thing that sucks is that they have ads, and then they cut back from the ads, and then the hosts read ads. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear about Postmates. I just listened about a local car dealership for like 3 minutes. I just want to learn who
funny.
won last night. That's all.
You know, this is a really good segue to our first sponsor. I'm kidding.
Oh, I wish
that
we
was.
that would be perfect. Yeah, I don't know. The kids really make this episode, I would say, because basically Connie then comes back the next time and is like, like, I think this would work better as a couple show, and then we do like, so now it's Dr. Wise and Professor Brilliant,
and they're just fighting on air about
and it's
answering
so
questions. Connie cuts off Mitch when Mitch thinks he has the answer, and so he is mad.
But
now.
Mitch has the answer because it's about investigative stuff, because Liz calls in because she's the reporter for the paper, and she's like, I need to find out who Prank Man is.
Yeah, and Connie's like, don't answer that, just tell her it doesn't matter, it's gonna blow over. And Mitch is like, yeah, but like
I worked for the FBI.
with the FBI. With the FBI, but like I was I did corporate espionage at Novacom.
Yeah, I know how to figure out who stuffed the skeleton in the locker.
Yep. And so he's like, but Mitch for some reason knows offhand that the skeletons would need signing out.
No, because he was there when Trent came in earlier and was asking and said, yeah, they're the only people that can sign the skeletons out.
The biology club is the only people that can sign them out, and then Mitch uses
continuity.
That knowledge here. Look at that, it's so clever.
It is. Yep, because I thought the same thing. I was like, wait, how does he know this? And then I remembered. And so yeah, and then Trent is hailed at school the next day for being Prank Man, and so they think it's Trent. Trent's mad. They think it's him because he's going to get in trouble, and Jared's... No, he's already gotten in trouble.
Right, he's already gotten in trouble. And Jared's mad because he wants the glory.
Yeah.
In a parallel to Connie wanting the Dr. Wise glory, because this episode wants to hit you over the head with the point of it.
Of course.
Yeah. And so then Liz is like, oh, we're going to put this on the front page of the Odyssey Owl.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Whatever.
And then... What?
Jared hides a note in the locker.
My only... Yeah.
Go for it.
My thing here is... It's weird that the Odyssey Owl, like, is a student newspaper at... I guess this is Odyssey Middle?
Must be.
That these... Or... I don't know. Is Odyssey small enough that it only has, like, one school that everyone goes to?
It might... That would make more sense. My thought is there's like a primary and a secondary, and the primary is 1st through 8th, and then secondary is high school.
Maybe.
Or it could be like a...
I feel like Odyssey High maybe is specifically mentioned at points, but maybe the middle and elementary... Like,
well,
maybe
there's later episodes where it's Odyssey High. Like
maybe like there's a K through 8, and then the high school or something. Anyways, I don't know. it's cool if they have a newspaper. It's weird that Liz has like this much
Power.
Yeah. Like, what kind of oversight is there that would be like,
You can put a prank on the front news. Yeah.
right?
Front
Like
page.
the front page is gonna be you revealing the identity of who
Prank
like
man.
stuffed a skeleton in Rodney's locker. Like, I feel like that's maybe like a suspendable offense.
Yeah,
not
that doesn't
like
that
published on the
does seem
front
like
page.
an abuse of power.
Yeah.
A bit. And then basically Jared wants the glory. Jared puts a note with the tape that he was recording when he devised the plan to put the skeleton in the locker, and he
Right.
puts the tape in the thing.
Yeah.
Puts it in, what was it? It's Liz's locker.
Yeah.
And then Liz finds it. Then Liz is talking to Jared, and Jared's like, "Oh, I guess I'm just humble or whatever," because she's like, "Wow, you're like we don't know who put this in there."
Yeah.
And then basically,
Dude, I'm trying so hard to sound enthused. I just
no,
can't.
I seriously, yeah, I feel bad.
I'm sorry, Chalk Squad.
No, it's okay.
Just-
It's okay. It's just, it seems like there's a lot of just like, it feels like I'm being beat upside the head with this. Basically, what ends up happening is Liz basically says that Mitch is going to help her fingerprint the note, which,
Yep.
what, how, whatever.
Right, but I'm actually curious if, like, that does sound like something that he probably would have done, but also it could just be a bluff because Liz has proven to be, like, a great journalist, and would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
If she was just like, oh, I talked to Dr. Wise, and,
Yeah.
It's Mitch, he worked with the FBI, like, I'm gonna get fingerprints, and then she's just like standing there waiting for Jared to try and break into the locker and steal the tape back, and then she's like, "Oh, you used a pressure point like you did before. You're pretty good at that." Blah 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 blah.
Pathetic man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So they rebrand him as Pathetic Man. Oof. And
yep.
that's what's published. And she's really mad at him for being so
Such a
self-centered
terrible
and
nickname.
like pretending to be humble.
Yeah.
Not being willing to take the credit.
Yeah. And then,
Which, like, this...
go for it.
There's a way to frame this better where Jared is, like, where Trent's getting in trouble and Jared
Jumps in front of the
jumps
bullet.
in front to, help his brother out, and in the process accidentally becomes the hero of the story.
Yeah.
Instead, they're very much like, no, Jared, like, really wants to be recognized because this prank is like the prank of the century, and it's so clever that he shoved a skeleton in Rodney's locker, which they must
Whatever.
have really big lockers.
Yeah.
Because you could not fit a skeleton in my locker, at least not an assembled one.
Yeah. And didn't he say, like, my locker's pretty small, just small, and you're small enough to fit in it or something?
Something like that.
You're small enough to fit in my locker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
maybe it was a child skeleton.
Must be.
How unsettling is that as a mental image?
What about a dog skeleton? We don't know that it's human. Could be like a turtle.
Yeah.
Turtle Bones. That's the name of my new punk rock band.
So yeah, and she's just got this like classic journal, like,
Gotcha.
I'm gonna publish this. The public deserves to know.
Yeah, and then basically Connie.
Everyone hates him.
Yeah, and then
There's a conversation with Connie and Whit where
Yeah.
Connie is just so like, I wish I didn't have to like share this with Mitch, and Connie
Yeah.
and Whit's basically like, Connie, you're being unreasonable. And she's like, yeah, but like he wears Argyle socks with tennis shoes.
doesn't matter if you're wearing shorts. I mean, as long as you're not wearing shorts. I've done it.
Yeah.
I wear Argyle socks with tennis shoes all the time. Just wear sweatpants. Nobody knows.
Yeah. I mean, I also like it, if tennis shoes is just general sneakers, I assume like Converse and Vans fall under that, and they look fine with Argyle socks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Come at me if my fashion's bad. You know where to find us. At
The
the
Twitters.
WadFam Chalk Pod on Twitter.
We made it so long without plugging it. I'm proud
I
of us.
know. I just don't have the
Energy.
desire to. Yeah, I don't know. This episode's taken a lot from me.
Yeah, I mean, what is... Yeah, basically...
Yeah, and then we end with Connie and Mitch getting back from rollerblading, seem to be on better terms.
Yeah.
Mitch goes to give advice to the kids, and it's really bad, and he walks away. conveniently, and then they're all like, "Oh yeah, your Mitch is really, or your advice was really, his advice was so bad," and
It wasn't that bad. It was just like laugh it off, like yeah, and then. And they kind of like change his voice acting to make him sound like super confident, like I'm the advice man or whatever.
It is,
but
it's well acted. But also, there's no, I don't know. We don't get the sense that Mitch feels like he's becoming confident and good with advice. More just that
I'm
he was
so
getting
upset that
tired
Connie
of
is
Connie.
like this.
Yeah, so the moral of the episode is, hey, like, you be humble. Don't always try and take credit for everything.
And also don't be a crazy girlfriend that like controls your boyfriend and keeps him from going to the FBI.
Yeah.
That would also be nice.
Yeah.
Let people do their own thing.
This episode does nothing for Connie and Mitch. It introduces Trent, who I'm a big fan of, but in a clunky way, to some respect. But I appreciate it as like a passing the baton episode. All of the Connie and Mitch stuff is just like, your relationship seems bad. I guess we're gonna be happy if you guys don't make it through this. I don't know what I get what this episode is trying to do as far as like a moral goes. I don't get what this episode is trying to do in developing the relationship between Connie and Mitch, other than like, is it trying to drive them apart? But then they seem totally on board at the end of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of like we're kids, petty squabble, whatever, move on, let's go rollerblading. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
I mean, my final thoughts, I guess, are just like... I don't know. This arc for Connie is not great. And... I'm not seeing enough of the other side of the coin for me to be like, to accept it, you know what I mean? Like, she seems like she's just a child.
Yes.
She seems like she's a kid. Mitch seems kind of cold to what it is. Like, it seems like he doesn't feel bad about the idea of leaving at all.
Right.
Which is...
Right, we've been sold so hard on their relationship.
Being
and then
so
at this
good.
point, it's like... Connie is the anchor tying Mitch to Odyssey, and he would be fine moving away, but she won't let him. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
It feels like they're not doing right by what they've set up with their
and they
relationship.
set up, and maybe it's because they changed their mind that they didn't want to keep him around as much, but they set it up to be like, this is my soulmate. Like,
right.
This isn't Connie having a crush. This is Connie in a serious relationship that is taking steps to make it work. Like,
yeah, and then like setting up like, oh, we're gonna take some steps back, and then not taking steps back, and then being like, our relationship is, on the fritz, and then being like, well, it's better. Like, it resolves itself at the end of every episode, but when you're listening to them all in this way, it just seems like their relationship is not great.
Yeah, under a microscope, there's not enough good there for it to be like to instill any sort of like good feelings.
And it's weird because it's not as though they're having to do things that they have to with some characters where it's like, we are losing this voice actor, so we have to do gymnastics to make story changes that act to this, because they're gonna keep around Steve Burns because he's the voice of Rodney. Like, he's not going anywhere.
No, he's not done.
So why does it feel like they're rushing the Mitch storyline to try and get it to a place as quickly as possible?
Yeah.
Like thinking about the Eugene and Katrina parallel, that was a relationship that was peppered in both with episodes where it was the centerpiece and things where it was in the background for a long time.
Yeah.
To set up like they're building a relationship. It's got its ups and downs, but like, it's building towards something, and this one's like, it's falling apart, but we don't want you guys to know it's falling apart.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Come at me. Like, I'm genuinely like, if people have really good feelings about this episode, I want to hear them, because I started out the episode, like, when I had listened to it,
I like the kids dynamic.
I didn't hate it on my listen through, but then doing this recap, just the more and more I thought about it, the more I was like, I just don't like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
No, it is really tough. And I think the problem with moral episodes sometimes is that they really focus on that to the point where they betray the plot to portray a moral.
Right.
Which is a very
Betrayal
Odyssey
of
thing
character
to do.
for this end game.
Hey, Game of Thrones finale. Anybody? No? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are some parts that I like, and as all Odyssey is concerned, like, the voice acting's very good.
Yeah.
I really do like Trent.
Yeah, I like Trent too. Oh, speaking of Trent and voice acting, sorry to butt in, but we didn't cover Corey Padnos is the voice of Trent.
Yeah.
Who is hasn't done a ton of stuff, but like the 2000s era Charlie Brown cartoons, he was Linus.
Interesting.
And also I threw this one in not because it's significant.
That makes sense.
Because,
wow. What? Okay,
yeah,
continue.
because Linus is the only thing that's really significant on his resume, but I thought this was hilarious that this is on record. He voices the boy in the Cat in the Hat ride at Universal Studios in Florida.
Oh.
So next time you're there, Chalk Squad, and you go on that ride, you can be like, oh, the boy is Trent.
Chalk Squad road trip to Universal. We can have our first meetup there.
That is the worst idea we've had.
Yeah, I would.
We've had a
call it
lot
that
of
idea.
bad ideas.
That's true.
All
Catch
right.
us with our new merch. Just kidding. Yeah. Do you have anything to promote this week?
I'm promo free.
I do not have anything to promote either. It is worth noting there will not be any episodes of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod for the following 2 weeks after this comes out.
Yeah, we're taking a mini hiatus.
Yeah.
I don't know. We thought about doing this right after it would have made sense to have a break between Novacom and this. We instead got swept up in the excitement of it all, and we're like, we'll just keep releasing right now.
Yeah.
So we're falling a little bit behind. We're going to be off the next 2 weeks. I'll maybe throw up some surprises. We've got a lot of stuff that we cut from these episodes that might be fun to drop, but we're not going to release any full episodes.
Yeah, no full episodes
on the next 2 weeks, and then we'll be back June 11th.
No, it'd be the week after June 11th, so it'd be June 18th.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Because
right. June 4th, June 11th. We'll be off. June 18th, we're back with part 1 of Here Today, Gone Tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
So
All
that's coming your way.
That's
and
that.
Yeah, the summer schedule is going to be a little bit iffy. Just bear with us, but you know,
it's summer.
That's how it is.
Sporadic. It's vacations and stuff.
It'll give you time to catch up if you're working through the backlog. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wad Fam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 31, It's All About Me, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Acebo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.